school grounds. In accordance with the Fire Marshal's regulations, we ask you to identify two emergency exits closest to you. In the event of an emergency, please follow the staff instructions. Play close attention to the announcer for important safety information. Restrooms are located at the north side of the stadium, opposite the scoreboard. We ask that you please help us keep the stadium beautiful and pick up after yourself and deposit all trash in a trash container. As a reminder, coaches and athletes are the only personnel allowed on the field to play before, during, and after the game. At this moment in time, we ask that everyone stand and take a moment of silence for those of us who are serving overseas and here at home. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask you please join us and direct your attention to the flag at the north end of the stadium as we honor America and those who protect our freedom with the playing of our national anthem. Knights are preparing to kick off as the Broncos get ready to receive.
All right, folks, welcome to game one here. We have the EP Broncos versus the Mesquite Hill Knights. This is a 9U matchup, I'm pretty sure, to advance to the next round of the playoffs. So kick back, enjoy, and we'll see you at halftime.
Broncos will field the kick at around the 40-yard mark. Won't count that, but there is a penalty on the kick. That one will go against the Broncos. Officials will spot the ball on the 34-yard line. First and 10, Broncos. Big carry by the halfback, number 0. He'll carry that one into the end zone. Touchdown, Broncos. Broncos get ready for the 2-point conversion. Carried by number 10, who gets into the end zone for the 2-point conversion. Your score now, El Paso Broncos 8, Mesquite Hill Knights 0. Mesquite Hill's going to field that kick at around the 40-yard marker. We have a down Knight on the field. Officials will spot the ball at the 40-yard marker. First and 10, Knights. handoff will be stopped at the line of scrimmage. 2nd and 10. The runner is met at the line of scrimmage by a swarm of Broncos. 3rd and 10.
Get him off you, get in there! There you go! Good job, Judah!
Run is going to be stopped again after a short gain of about a yard. 4th and 9. Timeout, Knights.
How was that transition going from middle school to high school and playing varsity basketball?
It was a lot. It was like really different than middle school because in middle school I kind of like had to do everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I got to high school, like there was like other people around who knew what they were doing and they were pretty good. So I kind of just got to like take a step back and just watch for a little bit and learn from the older girls.
Mm-hmm. So you went from being the big fish to
Yeah.
just being in the pond, huh?
Yeah.
Stadium could be yours. Second and goal. Timeout, Broncos.
Lamar got to work ball security because still you want to be an elite quarterback. If Patrick Mahomes got that ball like that, if Tom Brady gets that ball, Aaron Rodgers, the real Aaron Rodgers, please stand up. Look, they're not making that mistake. They're not making that mistake. So if Lamar wants to be the dude, you were an MVP. Be the dude. Come on, man. There was 3 fumbles.
Come on.
2 of which were turned over to the other team. So if you're gonna be that dude, be the dude. But so I'm not gonna let him get off the hook. But defense lost that game.
Carried by number 10. He'll get into the end zone on that one. Touchdown, Broncos. Broncos will elect to go for 2 here. Broncos unable to make it into the 2-point conversion. Your score in the game now: El Paso Broncos 16, Hill Knights 0. Folks, if you go onto your phones and download the Field House Sports app, you'll be able to find today's game streaming. Share it with your friends and your family. Again, that's the Field House Sports app. Broncos kick gets far enough. They're able to recover it themselves. They'll take over on offense. First down, Broncos. Officials will spot the ball at the 41-yard line. First down, Broncos. defense is going to catch the screen pass at the line of scrimmage. Second down, Broncos. Penalty on the play. Going to be offense. Incomplete pass by number 1. That'll bring about the third down. Huge carry by number 10, the halfback for the Broncos. He'll be able to move the chains for his team. First down. On the 17-yard line, Broncos. Snap goes over the head of the quarterback for the Broncos. He's able to recover the ball with the loss of yardage. Second down. Halfback number 0 for the Broncos tries to fight his way forward. He's met by Jalen Knight on the backfield. Third and 1. Powerful carry by number 0 once again. He'll fight his way forward for a few more yards. Fourth and long, Broncos. Timeout is called by the Broncos.
So, got you into the music scene? Because I hear about you all around here in El Paso.
Wow. He showed myself, like he showed me everything that I feel today is missing from everybody that wants to start. Like, the first thing, you need to learn how to carry the crates. You need to learn how to love your equipment.
So, now, when you're playing music, right, does it take you to a specific place?
Every time.
Every time?
I'm telling you. If I've mentored him well enough, he's at a pinnacle now to where I feel like he can rock with the fleet DJs. And boy, it's 600 of them.
Oh, yes. Yes, there's a lot of them. And you have to know your craft.
Oh, God.
You have to know your craft in order to be in that.
Listen.
how the grades looking? We talked about this earlier, but let's like very smart student athlete. Like I think the term student athlete really fits with you. 3.86 GPA.
Yes.
She a nerd, y'all. And there's nothing wrong with that. I told her embrace it, because you know, I mean, at the end of the day, the reality is academics and athletics minimizing that cost for college. It was a big jump for you. Like,
Yeah.
what do you attribute to that?
I think for my freshman year, I looked up to a lot of girls, and then my sophomore year, it was like I had to be the leader, and it was different, but I liked helping my teammates whenever they needed something. I liked, you know, giving them advice, teaching them how to just, you know, stay calm in whatever situation and just help them out whenever they needed.
Ball carrier will be met in the backfield by the Broncos. Dumping about 4th down. Timeout, Mesquite Hill.
Y'all like DJ Khaled, all y'all know how to do is win, right? What are some of the things that you as an individual are looking at to ensure that you position your team in a way to where you guys give yourself a chance to win?
What I would have to do, I guess, it would be like play solid defense. Don't let anyone get past me.
It was a transition for me to go from being like a shooting guard and from scoring to being more of like a facilitator and like bringing up the ball and improving other aspects of my game other than shooting.
Yeah, I feel pretty optimistic. We've got number one Amarillo, powerhouse. You know, numerous state championships. They are coached by an excellent head coach, and you know they eat, drink, sleep girls basketball out that way.
Broncos are able to block that one and cover it in the end zone. Now make it a touchdown for the Broncos. Broncos prepare to go for the two-point conversion. Carried by halfback number 0. Score now Denver Broncos 24, Eagle Knights 0. Ball is caught by the Knights, number 1. They'll field the ball at the 40-yard line. Penalty's going to go against the defense. That penalty's going to be waived. Knights will take over on the 40-yard line. First and 10. Runners fall down in the backfield. We have an injured Knight. Injury timeout for the Knights.
So where are you ranked now?
I'm the 21st player in ESPN, and I'm the 3rd shooting guard in the country. I gotta stick these last 2 years out and hopefully continue to make history.
I was like, hold up, this is something different. I don't know what happened, but he ain't trying to do everything on the floor now.
That is the most important thing. It's just so with the trusting teammates also is like a great player cannot win games by himself. This year is like certain situations I shouldn't have fouled because the fourth quarter we definitely need me on the court to try to make a push to win that. The first quarter of that Sweet 16 game, we looked like probably the best, one of the top 5 teams in the state in 5A. It was crazy.
restriction on the play, but there is a penalty. Blocked in the back against the defense. That penalty will be called after the interception. 1st and 10, Broncos. Officials will stop the ball at the 24-yard line. 1st and 10, Broncos. Screen pass to number 20 for the Broncos. He's going to be able to pick up a couple on that play. 2nd and 1. Broncos will elect for the 2-point conversion. Incomplete pass on the play. 2-point conversion is no good. Update your score right now. Paso Broncos 30, Mesquite Hill Knights 0. Boots kick by the Broncos. They'll be able to recover it at the 49-yard line. 1st and 10, Broncos. Broncos. The Knights are able to stop the two-point conversion. Updated score now: El Paso Broncos 36, Mesquite Hill Knights 0. Mesquite Hill is able to recover the ball at the 37-yard line.
Come on, Gina, get the ball back!
Officials spot the ball at the 36-yard line. First and 10, Knights. Broncos call for the timeout.
So how competitive are you? Like if I challenge you to a game of ping pong, do I got a chance to win?
No, you don't have any chance of ping pong for sure. me and my family, we have Thanksgiving ping pong tournaments, Christmas ping pong tournaments. You chose the wrong sport right now.
Pretty tight. I'm pretty tight. I got beam backhand.
All right, we'll have to see about that.
Beam backhand, follow through. So.
Pass is incompleted by the Knights. That'll bring about halftime for the game. Your score right now, El Paso Broncos 36, Mesquite Hill Knights 0.
Test. So for your halftime entertainment, we're gonna run one of our new shows, Wake Up El Paso, like a little preview. Enjoy.
The reuse and reproduction of this content is not allowed without the express written consent of EBH Fitness LLC.
Wake up, El Paso. I am your host today, Regina Robinson, and today I have the pleasure and honor to have a client here today, and it is Nakia Manuel. She's a hairdresser here, black owned, and of course, she's my beautiful hairdresser. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
How are you today?
I'm good. Excited.
Very excited to have you on the show this morning. We have the opportunity to get to know my hairdresser, Nakia, and to learn about products of hair, know where you're going to get your hair done, and the best treatments. So I have a few questions for her this morning. So tell me a little bit about yourself and how you wanted to become a hairdresser.
Okay. Well, I'm Nakia Manuel, and originally I'm from Oklahoma. Moved to El Paso about 8 years ago. And I got into hair really young. You know, I would do my hair, my sister's hair for dances and homecomings and, you know, just all the time doing hair. But it wasn't until I had my daughter when I was like, you know, I need to really learn about hair. I have this little girl now and I have to do her hair. So that's when I really started getting deep into hair and wanting to learn more about her hair texture, my hair texture, and, you know, what grows hair and how to have healthy hair altogether.
Absolutely. And I can say as one of her clients, her touch is a touch of love, spirit, just everything. The environment you come into, it's really good. She speaks with you, she's talked to you, and she explained everything in detail with you. So if a client come into your salon with major damaged hair, how would you, address that when she says, please, can you help me? How would you address that?
First, I would start by looking at her hair and assessing the damage, seeing what's going on. I would recommend definitely some type of deep moisturizing treatment, keratin treatment, something that's going to help repair the bond that her hair has lost from either heat damage or chemical damage or whatever the damage is. So definitely I would start with treating the hair, shampooing it really good, maybe trimming off some of the dead parts that are there, and try to work with her on a healthier hair care regimen.
Okay. Would you recommend anything that out of the ordinary, as far as, someone says, let's use an example, something funny that came on, the Gorilla Glue or whatever, so from there. I know it's very hard because, some people come in and want a miracle.
Right.
And it's very hard with that. Where do you get your treatments from? Do you mix your own, or do you recommend, or do you start on yourself or your daughter before you, or any any products of different hair, wigs or anything before you recommend it to your clients?
I really based it off of the client's hair, what it is they're needing, what it is they're lacking. A lot of times I do mix my own treatments together, a concoction of what the client's hair needs, whether it's moisture, whether it's restorative. I do like to mix a lot of my treatments myself in home. A lot more natural products, you know, things that work well for the hair, avocados, banana. So mixing your treatments yourself, you give the hair exactly what it needs. I do buy products, you know, treatments or masks from stores or retailers, and those work great as well. But you know, they're specifically for a certain type, whether it be damaged hair or, you know, dry hair. So mixing your own products work really great to get to the source of what's wrong with the hair and to try to help it from there.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's a really good thing, because I know that when I go with you, you constantly, you know, treat me very well, a hair treatment, trimming, and so on from there.
Yes.
I have one question. I know something, a secret that no one else knows, and that is, do you do men hair?
I will say, you know, I have dabbled in doing some men's hair over the years. I just want to say that men are really picky. They're a lot more picky than women are, you know, so any little thing, they notice it. You know, my husband, I played around cutting his hair over the years, and it's always something with him. So I don't necessarily do men's hair cuts, but I do starter locks for men. You know, I'll do different protective style for men that have hair, but mostly it's starter locks, you know, shampooing. I just stay away from like tapering and all that fancy jazz they want, because, ooh, they're picky. Let me tell you.
Men are very picky. They're very picky.
They're worse than us.
Yes. And that's pretty cool there. So with that, how do you stay up on the latest styles? I mean, how do you know? I mean, you know, do you go to shows, hair shows, or look at hair shows online or anything like that? How do you stay up with the latest styles?
Well, I will say that, you know, in this beauty industry, styles and trends, they're constantly changing. You can never know too much as a hairstylist, you know, training and constantly going to shows and, you know, getting ideas from other stylists, whether it be YouTube or, you know, Facebook. Social media is a huge platform for that now. So I just try to, well, I have a 12-year-old daughter, and she keeps me hip. So, you know, she'll keep me hip with certain styles. You know, I do my research. I did go to a lot more hair shows and, you know, participate more before COVID came and kind of slowed down my business a little bit. Right. So I do enjoy going to hair shows and, you know, seeing how other stylists like to do things. I love YouTube, so I'm always on YouTube and always doing research and, you know, just trying to figure out what it is that's in style, what people are wanting now. I consider myself more of a hair care specialist. So, you know, my main concern is the integrity of my client's hair. But it is fun to, you know, learn new styles, try different hairstyles and what's going on, all the rave butterfly locks and all that. And thank goodness I have a guinea pig. My daughter, she loves it. She loves it.
And that's the cool thing. That's the cool thing. What would you recommend for a young licensed person that want to come in and say, I want to be a hairdresser and I want to make this my career? What would you recommend for them, that person?
I would tell, you know, a stylist, someone who is new and fresh and just starting out, that in this industry you are unable to please everyone. You could be the best stylist in the world, and you know, it's always going to be someone or something that, you know, isn't satisfied or whatever. Don't let that discourage you. If you have a passion for this, you know, go get your license. And no, you do not have to be licensed to do hair. It just teaches you more in depth of, you know, haircuts, chemicals, you know, the color wheel if you're wanting to do color. So I would say go get your license and maybe start working at, I started out working at a mom and pop shop, which I loved. It was very difficult in the beginning because I didn't have clients, so it was building a clientele, and it was, it was frustrating and it was a little discouraging. So then I kind of changed the trajectory of that, and I went to JCPenney hair salon, and JCPenney feeds you clients. So maybe starting out with a corporate salon where you can get, some more extra training, and you're offered, those walk-ins, they're available for you, so you can start building your clientele. But yeah, do it. I say do it. It's great. I love it.
All right. I like that. And I like the inspiration with that. And I know that you're a Christian, and your home base of everything is just full of love and Christianity, and you always start with the positive of God first. And a lot of people like that when they're going into a hairstylist that's very comfortable. The environment is very comfortable. You're very classy hairdresser, and that's the main thing that I love, and which I state, is because you make everyone feel comfortable. You put God first in your touch of your hands. It's always loving and caring, and you care about your client's hair. So that's the one thing that I would say to tell a young hairstylist, is that care about what you do in your job. That you're doing there, and then you can always have that great reputation of being a hairstylist that loves, everyone, and loves to do their job.
Right.
To be a great athlete, it takes great skill, but that's not the only thing it takes. There's extra pressure being a college athlete just because you're also reminded, hey, you're worth this much money. Like, we invested this much money in you. You need to perform and do everything right, because you also make our income and stuff like that. Like, we make our livelihood off of you. We started doing field laps, and then I got pushed and tripped on one field lap, and we're pretty sure I hit my head. I started having seizures, and then they called 911, and it took about 15 minutes for them to get there. So in the span of when I first dropped to when they showed up, I had a total about like 10 seizures.
Had a diagnosis or anything. It was just, we're gonna run a bunch of tests and see what happens.
Another powerful carry by number 16 for the Knights. He'll be able to charge his way forward for 6 yards. Second down. carried by number 16. He's going to get caught in the backfield by Q Broncos. They'll push him back to the line of scrimmage. 3rd and 10. Strong carry by number 16 for the Knights. He'll be able to move the chains forward for his team again. 1st and 10, Knights. Officials will spot the ball on the 24-yard line. 1st and 10. Another elusive run, couldn't find the hole for number 16. He'll be brought down in the backfield. Injury timeout for the Broncos.
The camps, for me, they went really well. I mean, it was great going out, seeing all the competition. A lot of real good players, good kids, a lot of good coaching, a lot of good things I learned.
So one thing that came out of you came out on the rivals list, right?
Yes, sir.
So tell us about that. Like, what did you say? What did you feel when you saw that?
I was a little bit like, I kind of like, I knew that I was like I'm not trying to be cocky, but I knew I was kind of good. But when I saw that, I was like, interesting. I was like, there's no way, because it's like something that you don't like just expect.
Yeah.
Second and 12 for the Knights. Officials will say the quarterback was down before the fumble. Injury timeout for the Knights.
Our team goals for this season are just to get better every day, each week. We're going to be really young in some positions, so those kids will need to step up. We have 4 of our 5 offensive linemen returning, so that'll be one of our strengths. And my top 2 receivers are back, so that will help us just to get better every week. Our district is top heavy with a couple of really tough teams in Alpine and Crane, so we're just trying to get better and try to get into the playoffs. That's our goal.
spotted on the 33-yard line. 3rd and long, Knights. Ball carrier for the Knights is going to be met at the original spot of the ball. 4th and long. Confusion in the backfield. It's going to cause a turnover on downs for the Knights. Broncos will think over on offense. Carried by the halfback, number 0. They'll be able to gain about 4 on the play. 2nd down. Carried by the halfback, number 10 for the Broncos. He's going to run it on the outside for a 1st down for him. Officials spot the ball at the 48-yard line. 1st and 10, Broncos. Halfback, number 0 for the Broncos. He's going to carry that one all the way into the end zone. Touchdown. Halfback, number 10, he's going to be able to get that one to the end zone for actually 1 third. Your score right now, El Paso Broncos 44, Mosquito Knights 0. That will bring about the conclusion of the 3rd quarter today. Your score right now, El Paso Broncos 44, Mosquito Knights 0. as Mesquite Hill gets ready to receive the ball, Broncos prepare to kick off. Mesquite Hill is able to retain the ball at a very good spot, right around the 48-yard line. First and 10 on the 48-yard line. That carry by the halfback for the Knights. He's going to be met by the Broncos at the line of scrimmage. Second and 10. Run by the halfback. He's going to be met by a group of Broncos once again at the line of scrimmage. Third and 10. Reception is made by number 2 for the Knights. Timeout is called by the Broncos.
Now, I would just like to, congratulate you, Steve, for what you're trying to do here, because, as I said, talking to you prior to us going live, there isn't enough of this, and there's a lot of people getting false information, and there's not enough good information going around. And I think what you try to do to promote the proper message and get it to the right amount of people to be an asset and a resource, and that's what I always considered myself. I want every young kid out there, male or female, who loves the game that they play, to have that opportunity and to know the proper process and to do it the right way.
Trickery in the backfield for the Knights. Brenner's going to be stopped just short of being able to move the chains. That's a turnover on downs. Broncos will take over on offense. Big carry on the outside for number 10 on the Broncos. He'll get himself into the end zone. Touchdown. With that touchdown, that'll bring about the end of the ball game. The score, Paso Broncos 50, Mesquite Hill Knights 0.
Folks, that's the ball game there with the score of 50-0. EP Broncos will advance. We'll be back up with the next game at 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock, we'll be back up with the next stream. Thanks for tuning in.